Most men don't realize it, but the moment they start chasing a woman, the game is already over. They think they're being assertive, showing interest, doing what men are supposed to do. But what they're really doing is broadcasting low value. Every time you text first, double text, rush to set up a date, or constantly check in, you're telling her, without words, that she's above you. You're saying your time is more important than mine. Your attention is more valuable than mine. Please notice me. That energy is repelling. Not because women don't like attention, but because attention without value feels desperate. Imagine meeting a girl, hitting it off, and then texting her 5 times in 2 days. You think you're being enthusiastic. She thinks you're easy to figure out, easy to access, and too available. And once she knows you'll always be there, she stops wondering about you. Once she stops wondering, she stops caring. Predictability kills attraction faster than rejection ever could. Chasing is about convincing, but no high Val, you man convinces. He simply attracts. The moment you start trying to prove your worth to her, she starts questioning why you feel the need to prove anything at all. If you were truly valuable, you wouldn't be chasing. You'd be choosing. She would feel lucky to get a piece of your attention. But now, you're just another guy orbiting her, hoping she throws you a breadcrumb. That's why so many men get ghosted, ignored, or friends owned. It's not because they weren't nice, it's because they were too predictable, too available, and too obvious. And obvious men never win. Because attraction isn't about presence. It's about mystery, scarcity, and the subtle feeling that she might lose you if she doesn't act. Attraction doesn't begin with logic, effort, or attention. It begins with uncertainty. The moment she starts wondering about you, asking herself questions she doesn't have clear answers to, that's when you've created space for attraction to take root. When you chase, when you constantly check in, text first, and try to keep the conversation alive, you kill that uncertainty. You become a man she can predict, decode, and understand, and while that might feel emotionally safe, it's also boring. Predictable men are rarely desired. But when you pause, when you take time before responding, when you focus on your life instead of trying to manage her perception of you, something shifts. She starts checking her phone. She rereads your last message. She wonders why you haven't reached out yet. That wondering is where emotional gravity is born, because human beings are drawn to what they don't fully understand. When she starts thinking about you more than you think about her, when she initiates instead of just responding, when she starts chasing your presence, that's when attraction becomes organic, not forced, not begged for, earned. The key is not to play games, but to genuinely be detached from her outcome, to move in your own flow, to have a life, passions, and purpose that go far beyond her attention. She can feel that difference. A man who isn't leaning into her emotionally, who isn't trying to win her, he becomes a challenge, and women are drawn to challenges. It makes them feel alive. It makes them feel desire. You don't have to say much. You don't have to manipulate. You just have to stop proving and start living. And once you create that space, you give her the chance to miss you. And that space is where real attraction grows. When you stop chasing, something deeper happens than just silence. You begin communicating without words that your life doesn't revolve around her, that you're not another guy trying to squeeze into her schedule or win her attention. You're building something. You're focused on your mission. And that focus, that calm detachment is felt. She may not respond immediately. She may not say anything at first, but she's watching. She's sensing the shift. She's noticing that the man who once seemed eager to impress her has vanished. Not physically, but energetically. You are no longer showing up to prove something. You've stopped trying to be picked. Instead, you've become the one doing the choosing. And that dynamic reversal doesn't just trigger interest, it stirs desire. Because now she's left with silence, not cold silence, but confident silence, the kind that makes her wonder, is he seeing someone else? Did I lose him? Why isn't he reaching out? That emotional confusion isn't manipulation. It's the absence of validation. And in that absence, she begins to reflect, maybe even regret. You didn't fight for her attention, and now she's fighting for your presence. It's the switch most men never experience because they never give the space for it to happen. But once you do, you'll feel the power shift. She starts trying to impress you. She starts seeking your time. She starts leaning in, because the man who doesn't need her is the one she wants. And when you truly let go of chasing, she feels something that's impossible to ignore. You've elevated beyond her reach, and the higher you climb, the more she has to work to meet you. Men who fear losing a woman never stop chasing her. They keep initiating, texting first, over-explaining, and trying to maintain her interest out of fear that if they stop, she'll walk away. But that fear is rooted in scarcity. It's built on the belief that she's your only option, your last chance, or somehow more valuable than you are. And women can smell that. Desperation isn't hidden in what you say, it's in your energy. When you finally stop pursuing and give her space to show up, or not, that's when you find out who she really is. If she disappears, good. She was never really interested to begin with. You didn't lose her. You just stopped holding on to an illusion. But if she starts reaching out, checking in, initiating conversations or plans, that's when you know her interest is real. The problem is, most men are too afraid to run this test. They don't want to risk losing a maybe, so they keep chasing, they keep giving, they keep pouring energy into someone who hasn't earned it. And in doing so, they devalue themselves. Because what's abundant becomes disposable, but the man who can hold frame, who can embrace the uncertainty, who can detach from outcome, that man becomes unforgettable, not because he's playing hard to get, but because he genuinely has nothing to prove. He knows he's the prize, he knows his time is valuable, and if she doesn't see that, someone else will. And once you live in that mindset, not pretend, but believe it, you'll see the shift. Women don't want to chase every man. They want to chase the man they feel lucky to get, and that man never begs to be seen. This isn't about becoming cold or emotionally distant. This is about becoming powerful in your presence and selective with your energy. It means you stop handing out your attention like candy. You don't rush to respond. You don't always say yes to her plans. You don't flood her with compliments or tell her how amazing she is every time she shows up. Not because you don't appreciate her, but because your appreciation has value. It must be earned. Masculine energy is rooted in calm, purpose, and stillness. It doesn't seek approval. It doesn't panic in silence. It doesn't chase chaos. A high-value man builds a life he's proud of. He fills his time with things that matter to him. And when a woman enters that space, it's by invitation, not by begging. When she sees that you don't need her, but could choose her, that's when attraction becomes powerful. Because she realizes you won't sacrifice your peace to keep her. You won't chase what doesn't chase you, and that confidence, it's magnetic. It tells her you're rare, not because you're playing a game, but because you're centered. Every time you hesitate to chase and instead return your energy back to yourself, you create value. Every time you wait, pause, observe, you increase your presence. And every time you hold your frame while others fold, you separate yourself from the noise. You become the man who doesn't move unless he chooses to. And that is the man every woman remembers.